Hello viewers, today I'm going to show my speed paint for my drawing of Sam Winchester from Supernatural. This has been a drawing I've been working on to de-stress from school, and I hope you like it. Disclaimer, I am not a professional, nor am I giving advice. I am documenting my drawing and process, the mistakes, the comments I have, all of it. If you want to learn from me, go ahead, but don't follow this video. This is not a tutorial. Anyways, let's get into the video, shall we? So I first wanted to make the colors for the background to give me the color context as I'm drawing, because it helped me better pick my colors. Even though I know they're off here, they're way too bright, but still helped me out a lot. Liquefying, I didn't go in with a sketch other than the cross for the face, and I just wanted to block out the major shapes for the shirt, and then the collar, the face, and then the hair. I was just trying to get a feel for the layout of the drawing mostly. I wasn't focused on too much detail other than the edges of the hair because I was gonna fix that later. Separating the face from the hair and the shirt because I drew it all in one layer. Mistake number one. Adding the middle shades and then adding the hard dark shades to try to lay out the lighting areas. That's easier for me, is just to have 3 tones over the face, and then I can add in the in-between tones. Taking a more circular, or just adding dots everywhere to try to soften everything out. More liquefying, more liquefying. Moral of the story, probably best to use a sketch when you're drawing, because I didn't use a sketch, and that's why it looks so disproportionate, and that's why I was struggling. Anyways, this was the ugly phase of the process because I was not really going forward with much blending. I was just kind of doing whatever as it was because I knew it looked bad and I knew it was disproportionate and I didn't know how to fix it, so it was making me really upset. So liquefy even more, and trying to fix up some of the shading, whatever, hair, trying to liquefy the hairline, trying to fix everything up more. I was just so focused here on fixing those proportions before I even continued with the blending. One of the main motivations I had with starting this piece was to get better at blending. So I went in with the 3 tones, added some more dots to blend in the shadows, and then I took an opaque watercolor brush with the lighter tones to kind of blur everything out, but not necessarily blurring, if that makes any sense. I'm just trying to blend it generally. Trying to make it softer and give the appearance of rounder features compared to the flat drawing it just was. That's me trying to define more stuff like the nose and trying to fix the chin. I went in with that brown color again, and then I kind of lightly blended it so that I can give it the nose the proper contour that it had. Defining some more stuff like the nostrils and the sides of the nose and some of the shadows, liquefying more, and trying to get the facial expression correct, and then blending on the forehead and the cheeks and the major areas, and then doing some more blending on the neck. That was the word I was looking for. And then I started giving it sharper highlights with that lighter color. Actually, I think I made the color lighter, which it was really starting to bring it together once I added the highlights around the nose, because that's the major part where the light is shining on his nose. I gave him color in his lips, added some more shadows on his lips, gave him the whites of his eyes. That also brought it together. And I wanted some more of that raw feel, so that's why I added some more sharper, not really blended out highlights on the forehead and such, and just adding more highlights, more in-between tones. Also, I forgot to mention, I added that slightly green color above his lip to give the appearance of the shadow. And then just more liquefying, trying to give more subtle shadows like underneath the eyes to try to define the form more and make it look more natural. More liquefying of the eyes and adding some more darkness on the outer eye to make him look pretty. And then more highlights, more blending, and I added the color to his eyes, which really kind of gave him more of that human look, and I really enjoyed that. I started on the hair, adding highlights and then that cooler, darker tone from the shadows of the background, because I thought that would go well with it. Some more blending underneath the chin, around the nose, adding that sharp highlight. I also added a pink transparent layer above it, and that kind of, you can kind of see the outline, but it gives it a little bit of color into his cheeks. Just kind of popping into different places and just fixing different things like the shadow on the neck and trying to blend out more of those lines underneath the neck as well. And then I hiked up the contrast because it was not near dark enough. And then I went in with a black or a near black, I can't remember. And I started to just have general strokes around the highlighted areas. And I added some thinner strokes over that middle area and the highlights I added, making it darker, trying to give it more form, and also the colors were not dark enough, so I was trying to make the hair look more natural. And then taking that darker color and outlining more of the hard shadows around his left eye, his forehead, etc. And trying to define that more because the shadows are very dark over there and I did not make it dark enough. So I was just liquefying and adding some more shading, trying to adjust his eyes to have the correct expression, you know, like make everything even, make the shadows match up, and then liquefying random things around like the chin and the lips. And then that's when I finally started on the ear that I abandoned. I finally started on it, adding some more of that mid brown tone, liquefying the hair. I didn't spend too long on the ears because I didn't want to. And then for the rest of the hair, I just took a small semi-transparent eraser brush and I started cutting into those thick blocks of hair so that it gave the appearance of strands. And then I took an even lighter color and I started doing the shines on the hair. And the hair, it didn't really take me that long, but you can see it came together really well. I kind of just winged it because I'm not very good at drawing hair, but I would say this came out actually very well. And then I was just fixing more of the ear, adjusting some more of the colors. And finally, I started on the shading of the shirt. I went in with more of a gray kind of purple color to give it the general shadow, then a darker version of that to give it more of the defining darker parts. And then I kind of went over it with that color again, kind of transparent. And then continued using those same colors to outline the general shadows. I didn't put too much detail into it. I just kind of, you can see it's very streaky. So I just went into it like that, adding some more contour to the neck because the neck needed some love too. So I was adding some purple too because the bottom of the neck in the reference photo was kind of purple. Then I took a lighter color of the shirt and I started filling in that empty space, and then also adding the highlights and the lightness of where the light was hitting on his shirt. And I was adding that over on the other side too. But I noticed that the sweater was looking too big, so when I was adding the contour, I also, like on the back side and also on the underneath part, because it wasn't near dark enough again, I liquefied it to make it smaller, made that shadow in the background darker, adjusted more of the blending for the background because I thought it was too streaky and too grainy. Minor details here and there, trying to emphasize the creases and the veins in his forehead, adding some more pink, adding some more highlights, more contour. This was at the point in the process where I was just touching up all over places where I noticed things that were wrong, or I added some more things, like I had added his moles and some more contour in the neck, because the neck is darker than the face in the reference. And then adding more shadow underneath the chin because it looked too thin. Changing some more things here and there and giving some more streakier looks for the lines underneath the neck. And I was just trying to make it look better because at this point I didn't have to worry much about proportions. So after I started to focus on the blending, I was noticing different things that I could have added. And finally, I got to the background part that I was ignoring the entire time. I was completely procrastinating this, but I just went in with that same kind of brownish salmon color that I used on the skin to outline the painting and then alpha lock it. Added a kind of lavender color, or it was just a more cooler, lighter desaturated color to match that color on the back painting. And then I went in with some pink because it looks pinker in the reference picture. Then that darkness on the corner, some streakiness with that same darkness on low opacity, adding some lighter parts with the color eye dropped from the background, more contour, outline the separation in the painting, and then I just kept blending stuff out and then adding a little bit more colors here and there, trying to clean up and define that middle line that I had, and then adding that shadow or whatever it is for the part of the picture right next to his face from the reference. And then just liquefying it more because it looked uneven, it looked a little lopsided. And then I finally added in that bigger shadow with the same color that I'd used right next to it, like the shadowy color. Then I eye dropped the background color to give it that kind of faint oppression of an outline, similar to how the reference picture looked. I didn't want to spend too much time on this because I really wanted to be finished with it. I remember I was drawing this in a Starbucks with my friends. And then I moved on to the other side, took a green, took a lighter pink, added in a blue, a crisper green on the edge of it, started blending everything out, adding more definition to the center of it, not caring about how it looked behind his head because it wasn't going to show, blending out some more of that, blending out the edge, adding some blending on the background colors, and then adding in my signature. And this is the final product. And here you can pause if you'd like to see the close-ups. Thank you for making it to the end of the video. I just want you to know I appreciate you, and if you appreciate me, then be sure to like, comment, and wait. You don't have to subscribe just yet. I know that you don't usually subscribe to people you've only seen one video of, so why don't you go check out my channel? I have a couple of other long-form videos, and I have a lot of shorts. And if you like me enough, you'll subscribe to see more art from me. Thank you, and have a blessed Sunday, everybody. Goodbye.